good morning and welcome to Streets Committee. Councilman Clay, Councilman Hockett, Soup Duffy, Finance Officer Phillips, and our fireman Paul Jensen, our attorney Paul Jensen. I guess my first question is that everybody knows we got that up to $500,000 grant. Have we heard anything from the state?
I did get a letter on Friday that I sent out to you guys via email. All it did is told us who at the state is our contact. So I sent an email off to her and said, hey, what does the city need to do so that we can get moving on this? Can we go out for bid? And as of this morning, I have not heard anything back. So they sent out a letter to tell us who to contact.
And I think, it's been talked about that we need a truck to pull our trailers. I've got a contact through out of Rapid City that will give us a Sourcewell price on a truck. And that they said that might be available as early as fourth quarter of this year. So that would be, I believe the trailers were also Sourcewell.
Oh, so the recycling trailers?
The recycled trailers. So pretty much everything that was on that bid as far as sanitation goes.
Do we need to look at renewing the current hauling contract?
Yeah, that was 6 months again, so
It runs out, I believe, 1st of June.
we'll have to see if he'll be willing to go another 6 months on that.
Yeah.
I don't foresee that being a problem. He was fine with that, and I think they're happy doing the work.
But we'll have to just put it out there for quotes again, and
Yep.
hopefully he'll submit his like he did last time.
Yep.
So, good.
So that's that. Budgetary wise, Kelly's departments are doing fine. There's nothing that's jumping out at us there. I guess for 2025, a lot of it, budget wise and streets, a lot of it depends on what happens with this access grant. We're not going to know about that until November, so that we're going to have to budget accordingly, just assuming we're not going to get the access grant. And then if we get it, that's a plus. So equipment wise, the one thing that we've been talking about in streets, and we're supposed to go see a demo sometime next month, I believe.
Bring it here. They're gonna bring it here.
Oh, they are going to bring it here? Is we're looking at a sweeper. Our sweepers, it just does not seem to be doing the job that the previous sweeper we had before it's not picking up. We've had, and it's just not the same machine. But
Is that why we're not using it a lot?
Break it down. We run it a little bit and fix it. Run it, fixing it. But we're trying to get it out. Weather right now.
If the
We
council,
want to get it back out there.
if the council authorizes you to get a budget in a new street sweeper, what kind of commitments are we gonna get for using the sucker?
We've tried to say, let's go. It will be back out.
we swept the whole highway like a week and a half ago.
And then it rained.
And then we got that rain, and it washed everything down off the side streets, so now we have a lot of sand to pick up.
But
off.
we needed that, clean up the town. I
Yeah.
mean, wash all that stuff down. You scooped it up with your buckets and
Yeah, no, that rain was beneficial. It saved us a lot of hours of sweeping the gutters and on all those side streets, so it washed it all down to the main highways, but it doesn't look very good right now.
what's that do for the sanitation out there? Is though that sand's gotta go into the gutters, it just blow on out then?
It's storm sewer.
Wrap it and
It plugs up our,
It does blow
it
on.
plugs up the storm
wrap it
sewers.
out there and suck it up.
So that's kind of what we think is happening this time, is the last sweeper that they had. This Pelican that we have now is more of a generalized sweeper, like I guess if you will, an all-purpose sweeper. In winter, we obviously have a lot of sand. And so we're looking at something that, we're gonna look at a couple different models, but something maybe with a vacuum. It's got the sweeper room, it's got the brooms, but it also has a vacuum to pick up that fine sand, but, we definitely want to get something that's going to do a better job than the one that we have right now. This one seems to smear more than it picks up, and it's just not doing
Did it
that.
ever work good when it was new?
Oh, I think back a few years, yeah, when it was newer, it was, yeah, their life expectancy isn't that long. A lot of wear parts.
Kinda like a vacuum cleaner.
Well, it does a good job with the bigger stuff. Like when he dumps it, you get a lot of like
Big rocks.
the dime and nickel and quarter size rock, and it does a really good job with the trash and the debris, the sticks and all that kind of stuff. But it just doesn't want to seem to pick up the sand. So the sand just keeps accumulating and accumulating. So anything else? Equipment wise, I don't really think we're looking at too much else.
Troy, for the sake of the public that's watching, tell everybody what the access grant is.
The community access grant would be, basically, if we were to receive the full amount that is being requested, it would be Monroe Street from First to Fourth. It would be Third Street from Monroe to Van Buren. And then from Third and Van Buren to Fourth and Van Buren, and then on Fourth Street back to Monroe. That's what that's what DGR has laid out, and that would include resurfacing. It would include changing some of the parking areas, some of the parking accessibility of Monroe Street. A couple of areas that we've identified. It would fix the parking area in front of the insurance company right across the street here. It would add more parking in front of the barber shop. And we've even talked about maybe adding more parking on the city side so that when there's something being held at this building, we have more parking area for that. But it would be total resurfacing of the streets, any water, any sewer. It was talked, I think Jake's got it in the plans to provide some better lighting on Monroe Street because of the accessibility during certain times of the year, the carnival, that we don't have any street lights on this, and it is part of our downtown area, I guess, if you will. So, yeah, it'd be pretty much a total remake of Monroe, and then we threw in Van Buren back here because of the community center, the Catholic Church, the
Methodist Church.
just a popular area, the need for parking, the need for drainage. Both streets both Monroe and Van Buren are in tough shape. Both concrete streets that are it's beyond maintenance. It's more of a complete overhaul on those streets to get something put together there. So,
Yep.
yeah, that's the public access grant.
Thank you.
I guess for 2025, it's been talked about in the streets department, and certain councilmen have been an advocate of getting something done on Monroe, regardless whether we receive the access grant or not. So that is probably a proposal for 2025, is to put a certain amount of money in. Last streets committee meeting, our last council meeting, we approved for DGR to go ahead and give us like a 3-year plan for that, everything that I just talked about in the community access grant. If we don't get the grant money, we'd still go ahead and break that out into like 25, 26, 27, and still do the project, but we would do it at our expense without any grant money. So Jake should have those numbers to me here pretty soon. It's probably looking like that first year, be around that $500,000 mark. And that would be with us doing, a lot of the tear out, obviously, we're gonna have to, contract some work to get the grade work done and get everything, prepared for surfacing, and probably, that could also be, maybe for next year's curb and gutter. Historically, we've been doing a curb and gutter project that's been running around 100,000, give or take a little bit. Maybe some of that money could include, some of that project could include that curb and gutter for next year, some of those parking areas and in the different area. So yeah, that would be a big portion. I would personally like to ask council for a little more than that, so that we could go keep up with our mill and overlay, because our city streets are not getting any better. We do have areas that are beyond maintenance, and they just need to be milled and overlaid. So I don't want to see the mill and overlay go by the wayside, but I think, hopefully budgetary-wise, we can find the money and we can do both. But that would be what I would propose.
My thoughts, Troy, was to try and put 600,000 in for Monroe project for 25, and put $600,000 in your mill and overlay, and try to keep it, how we do when we get through the budget, but like I say, try to keep it. Or try to keep as much of it as we can.
Yeah. I don't, when Jake gets the whole thing, they were here last week, and he had his guys come last week, and they shot everything for elevations and all that. So that's, you see the flags and the stakes that they've got sticking out here on Monroe and back here on Van Buren. That's what that's all about. He had his survey guys come out and shoot everything. So when we get a good picture of what that whole project's gonna cost, assuming we got the grant, that would change the dynamics of everything considerably, because we'd have to go full forward with the grant process, which would mean that would probably soak up, we would probably not get any mill and overlay done, because we'd need the funds just to do that project. I don't know with the public access grant, if that's a 1 year, like if you have to do it all in 1 year, or if you can stretch it out over.
What percent of that do we have to pay, public access grant?
I don't know the total project
The
cost yet.
maximum of 600.
Yeah,
It's a max of 6?
I'm sure it's gonna be like $1.5 million. I mean, those are rough numbers that
I
we.
got you. That's why you're saying if we did get the grant, we'd receive up to 600,000, and then we'd have to kick in the other.
Yeah.
So there would be no mill and overlay for that year.
Unless that grant is, if we could stretch it out over a couple of years.
Unknown caller.
I don't know who it is either.
I don't know that yet. We paid off the loader. I don't think we pay anything else off.
You paid off the plow truck, not the loader, sorry.
Our plow truck.
You still got at least one more year on the loader, I think. I
And
don't know
the,
why it's not on there.
It says
loader's a-
2022 loader.
That's when we purchased it, was 2022.
Isn't that the one you're talking about getting paid off?
The 2019 plow truck is what we paid.
That paid off. Oh, I see the backside. You
Yeah.
don't have on there where it gets paid off.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not on there, so I will get that fixed.
the loader is a lease,
Yeah,
so.
5 years, so 2027.
Right?
So that's streets in a nutshell. Sanitation could be a bigger topic. So what we're currently slated to do in sanitation is, we do have 2 garbage trucks on order. And those trucks would be here in the first quarter of 2025. Our current sanitation contract with River Bottom brings us up to June of 2025. And then that contract will either have to be renewed or terminated. The plan going forward, with the current administration, is to purchase the garbage trucks, and the city will be taking over the sanitation services. And we had a plan laid out for those. I think the first year, we were gonna make like 25,000. The second year, we were gonna make like 200 and some thousand, and then there was the option to pay off the trucks and make about the equivalent, but after the trucks are paid for, then the sanitation is looking like it's gonna make about $480,000 a year. So, that would be the current plan that was formulated with the current administration, and if that doesn't go through, there is the option of redoing a contract. I've spoken with Adam on that. He's probably not gonna do another 2-year. If we do it, we'd have to go out for bids on it again. We'd have to go 5 years. I don't see anybody bidding a 2-year contract again.
I fully expect the sanitation program to continue on. I do.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money to pass up on, especially when we have big streets projects and electrical projects and all kinds of things. But the garbage trucks are on order, so that's that would be the only, in sanitation, that's really the only thing that, other than hiring a person and a half, we were gonna add on 1 full-time person and then a part-time person. That would have to be accomplished in 2025, early in 2025. But sanitation, I don't see budgetary-wise for 2025, like building and, you know, with the grant, we purchased the truck and the recycled trailers. And then we would also pay off what we owe the county, which is an additional $200,000. That would take care of that. That would be done and over with. I think the recycle trailers would be, I personally think the recycle trailers would be great for the community. I think it would help us also at the recycle center. Just if people start to use those recycle trailers
Reduce our garbage load.
instead of
and
coming out to the actual facility, that frees up a couple individuals throughout the day on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, and it's much easier, you know, it's like anything else. When you have a bunch of stuff to do, and you can just get over there and get it done, and then it's done with, it goes a lot faster. It's a lot more.
So I guess I have a little bit different vision on that. And, you know, want to have a conversation about it, because when you just said that, like, oh, I hadn't seen it that way. I assume that we would continue and expand our commercial service on going around picking up the clean cardboard from people, and have our recycle trailers for, and if commercial wanted to use it, but home residences, you know, like I've said before, like our grass pit, where they can use it 24/7 at any given time.
I believe that, I think so. I think that's what.
Did I misunderstood what you said?
Yeah, when I was talking about the recycle trailers, so just to give you a little bit of, I guess, a little bit of input on what we see out there when the recycle center's open, is we don't see a lot of cardboard come out. We do have individuals that come out with cardboard, don't get me wrong, but the bulk of those guys' stay is it's the back seat of the SUV with paper, plastic, aluminum cans, things like that. And it's just, there's no, it's whenever they show up. So we keep
And somebody has to get off a piece of machinery or whatever to go over and direct them correctly, do they?
Well, we help them unload their vehicles, and then we get it to the right bins, and then there's a certain amount of sorting that has to be done when you do that. But basically what we do, like what our procedure is right now, is on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have 2 individuals, sometimes 3, that go out to the recycle center, and then they're out there all day, because we're open from 9 to 5 out there. So if somebody shows up, we need somebody there, so the doors are open, that they can, you know, do their thing. My vision is that for those people, the trailers would be a better option.
We'll reduce a lot of that, yeah.
And that would,
You weren't talking about quitting with the commercial cardboard route?
no,
Okay, see, that's where I misunderstood what you're saying. Because the commercial cardboard route is Tuesday and Thursday anyway, right?
no, not necessarily.
It's not?
It's
Okay,
Travis has a sheet, places that he needs to be on certain days, and it's not necessarily Tuesdays and Thursdays.
it's what works his schedule and works for their schedule.
Shipment in,
Come
something
up
else.
with things better. That way
See
all
stores
the-
and everything, they may have
You know
a
what I'm saying?
shipment come.
Yeah, like, it seems like most places in town get their shipments on Wednesdays. And then, so they're breaking down cardboard all day Wednesday and then sometimes Thursday. So a lot of those places, we get them on Friday, like Thursday afternoon or Fridays. But there's, like McDonald's, I think when he was going there like 3 days a week, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They get a lot of, but there's also people there's been a lot of interest in the cardboard. So, I see the cardboard thing getting bigger. I know we've talked about in this committee before about, start to charge a fee for the pickup of cardboard and have people sign up. And then we would come and get it set it up on a route, and we would charge a small fee for picking up cardboard. I don't know if that's something that wants to be pursued, or leave it like it is, or,
We've talked about it till we're blue in the face. I thought we were gonna move forward on that, but does that have to be by a resolution then?
It will.
if we're charging for it, then we have
Yeah.
to change our current.
I think if I remember correctly, at the last time we talked about it, it was, you would ask Troy and I to work up a letter to send to all the commercial customers and say, hey, if we set this up on a route, would you be interested? If we didn't get a lot of response, continue as is. If we get a lot of response, then set up the actual route.
Did the letter go out then?
No. No. That's kind of how I vaguely remember it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, and I'm sure there was never any kind of an agreement moving forward as far as how much to charge. That was not agreed upon yet.
Trash and garbage.
It was $5.
Between $5 to $10
Yeah, we
Between
talked about
$5 and $10, yeah.
$10.
per trip.
Yep.
So,
Gotta be-
after that discussion, I got mixed. I had council members contact me, and I had some that were for it, and I had some that were strongly against that.
Huh, I haven't heard a word.
So, I did not send out the letters. I think it needs to be maybe discussed it comes out of this committee as a, you still want to, I guess we could still go forward with
We can
just,
send it out of this committee to the full council as a resolution discussion or something, can't we? Put it up to
Sure.
create a resolution that we can then have a discussion on as a full council
Yep, yep.
and see where it moves from there.
We can do that.
I was not aware that there was councilmen that were against it, and I wouldn't know why. They thought it should be a free service or just abolish the service completely,
thought that it should continue as it is.
a free service.
Yeah. A goodwill, if you will, by the city.
Do you know how many places he goes to more than once a week? Is there a lot he does more than once a week?
There is a few. Not my head.
But it doesn't, we don't.
Yeah,
So I think
but there is.
for resolution purposes, because you'll have to have something drafted, Mr. Jensen, are you in favor of the $5 per pickup, which for some of them it would be $10 a week, but for most people it would be $5 a week? Because he has to have something to put into the resolution.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it should be something.
I don't think $5 a pickup is going to.
Per pickup, per time.
And
Right.
we
Yeah.
can build that in on our end. Randy and I did look into it. I mean, we wouldn't be able to get it up and running tomorrow, but we can do it on our end to put in a separate, and then it would go into the same revenue line as where your recycle goes.
I would love to have that conversation with the council through, because $5, somebody, my goodness, because we're talking commercial, not residential, commercial. They're gonna pay somebody and a vehicle to go load the cardboard up and drive it out there and unload it and drive it back. They're gonna have $30 easy into that time and gas and
Right.
whatever.
I don't think
What's-
anybody would kick it fine.
Or will they just throw it in the trash?
Well,
Joe, what do you think as far as $5 per trip, per load?
that's plenty fair, and it's something.
The reason I ask is this, I'm getting the impression we want to get this to council my thought is, based upon this conversation, I can prepare the resolution and take it to ordinance committee on Wednesday. And ordinance committee then can take it to council, and that way we've got 4 of the 6 in council will have
Seen it at least.
had some involvement in it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that'll allow us to have the conversation as full council. So.
Yep, yep. All right, I'll get her done. And that's only for cardboard, right?
Yes.
Gotcha.
The other thing with cardboard is, so the recycle center is not just for the city of Winter. It's for, and I want to remind everyone that when we took over that facility, that was one of the, I guess I'd have to, was that put in writing? Or was it just,
It was an understanding.
it was an understanding that we would keep the recycle center going?
What was put in writing is that the recycle would stay open, it just didn't state specifically that it would either just be for City of Winter or that we would include more residents. That was the understanding, that we could do more than City of Winter.
And we've continued to take recycling from actually outside of Tripp County. We take Gregory County recycling, we take odds that people come in from Lyman, we've had them come from Todd County. Not a big deal. I don't think that's the issue. If we were to do a charge on the cardboard, so recycling is not a moneymaker. We need to, first and foremost, we need to understand that if we start taking, if we start charging and we have people sign up for, because there are some facilities that generate a lot of cardboard, and they currently pay to have that cardboard hauled somewhere. If we take on the burden or take on that responsibility of taking some of those bigger entities' cardboard, there is the possibility that it could cost us money. Right now, we make approximately anywhere from like $1,200 to $2,000 a load when we send recyclables to Sioux Falls. That price varies upon what's on the trailer when we send it. And then we have a hauling fee of $550, but if we sent just a trailer of cardboard to Sioux Falls, it would cost us money. We would not make money. So I just want you guys to understand that, understand all what it, what's all entail here. I don't have any firm numbers on that, but cardboard is currently going for like 2 cents a pound.
Isn't it the Tripp County Recycling Center, or was the Tripp County Recycling Center?
It
Is
was.
that what it was called?
It was.
And again, we bought it from the county with an understanding that we would continue servicing the county. We have to protect and continue to protect the residents of the city of Winter and Tripp County. If the other counties become a financial burden to us, well, maybe we have to put something in place, It's a greater good of recycling, but our tax dollars are to protect our residents. So monitor that, I would say, if it becomes a burden.
Yeah, and here's the dynamics of that. That's how it looks is, we have a couple of recycle trailers that come in from those areas. On those recycle trailers is a lot of plastics, which plastics, some plastics are worth money. Your milk jugs, orange juice jugs and things like that, number 2 plastics are worth money. They're worth like 19 cents a pound. But what's the real moneymaker for us, no matter what, is aluminum. That's where we make, and a lot of aluminum comes in on those trailers. So it's very, you cut out another county and you get rid of that aluminum and it's not, I'm not proposing anything.
Not trying to cut them out, I'm just saying
No,
protect.
I understand exactly what you're
comes out
saying.
in the wash.
I'm just trying to give you how we make money currently doing this recycle thing, so, yes, I agree 100%. I know exactly what you're talking about. We will monitor that, we will watch that.
Does anybody other than us take recycling for free? Any other communities that do what we do, but, cause they do take it in for free.
Greg, so just around us, no. The closest facility that I know of that does is Pier.
Do they charge?
And Pier takes recycling. And they're kind of like some stuff. They take white paper, they take cardboard, they take plastics, they take aluminum. There is also a recycling company in Pier, and they do charge. And they're the ones that's a company that you can call up and say, I want a couple containers, one for my plastics and one for my, whatever. But they have a route truck that drives around, does a route, and picks up the recyclables.
Well, when I say we, I mean you guys, need to do some research on it and get it right in the future, because, we've always had the conversation about recycling growing, and it will grow, but we just need to know what to do in the future that's right.
Yeah.
Charging and taking in, or whatever we do, we want to make sure we get it right. 'Cause
Troy
it's
or
gonna-
Kelly, correct me or clarify one thing for me. You were talking about the fact that certain of these businesses have such a large amount of cardboard, they're already contracting to go somewhere else. If they were to contract with us, are we talking like multiple pickup loads every week from some of those, or in other words, how do we categorize those for purposes of this $5 a load?
I don't know how much, some of the facilities that do, like the running store,
Yeah,
they bail their own.
bail their own.
I know when Shopko was in business, they bailed. I'm not aware what Ace Hardware's doing with their cardboard.
Right.
I'm assuming that they do. Just because of
Yeah,
the Bowie Ace Hardwares, I'm sure that they have some sort of a contract.
They had
with-
an outside entity that comes and pick those
Yeah.
bales up that were sitting by the side of that.
Right.
so we're really not anticipating that those would be coming over to take it.
Well, that just depends. If it was, if we got into it, if we were, I'm sure everyone would look into it if we were doing it cheaper than the next guy. And that's what I'm saying, is that's where we need to be a little bit,
So are we ahead of the game here? Should we slow this thing down for 2 weeks? In other words, should we find this out before we move forward with this resolution?
I think you could set your fee without knowing that to a certain, you can always come back and amend it, it's not saying. we're
Well, we
gonna lie with
can,
it.
here's where my head is at. If we set it per pickup load, that way if somebody had us come start getting cardboard and it was 4 pickup loads, we're gonna charge them per load.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
So that's gonna be your smaller, like your zip trips, your fueling stations,
The ones that we pick up from now, is a pickup load about as much as you get from one customer at any one time?
Probably pretty close.
yeah.
Okay. So if we did the $5 per pickup load, that should take care of us then. Okay,
Roughly.
all right.
If some of these bigger, like I say, a running store, if they were looking at us like, hey, can we get rid of it cheaper through
Sure.
through Winter Recycle Center than our current carrier, those entities, we would get it by the bale,
Sure.
because they've already got the equipment to bale it. And they do that just so that they don't have cardboard laying everywhere.
So if we run into that, then we would have to come back and do a resolution based on so much per bale.
Yeah.
All right.
And
We'll
then
worry
there,
about that when it happens.
and then there would be the who brings it where,
Yep, yep.
Do we come and get it, because we're gonna need equipment to lift it up and haul it with, and, it just becomes a whole different dynamic,
It does.
It's a whole different scenario.
All right, well, that tells me what I need to get this thing for Wednesday, so we'll make that work. Good.
That's it. That's all I got.
Wow.
I got one subject off camera.
Okay.
Great meeting, guys.